TYT Sports, Ben Mankiewicz, J.R. Jackson, talking the NBA Finals, Game 4. The final score was immaterial to the main point that I want to make, because the score that everybody should pay attention to, 107-86 the final, but the score that matters, 81-57 after 3. That game was over after 36 minutes. It was over arguably after at halftime, but maybe the Heat put together a third quarter, get back in it.
The same way they did in the previous game where they got blown out.
Right.
They had a great third quarter.
Right, but they didn't here, and this game was over 81-57 for the Spurs to go into Miami and dominate those first 3 quarters like that. That is, I don't know, everybody's surprised in that, you know, the Heat had 2 things that they hadn't lost at home yet in the playoffs this year, although Bucks, Nets, Pacers, not quite the same as the Spurs. And they hadn't lost 2 straight playoff games since dropping a couple to Boston. So what does this mean? What is this, first of all, does it mean the obvious, is this series over?
It's over, you know what? But everyone's saying it's over the next game in San Antonio. I'm not completely away from that theory, but I think we jump on so quickly, which is why so quickly everyone jumped on saying, oh man, these are the champs. You know, Spurs are old men. This is over. And immediately at the beginning of this series, the predictions were that was going to be the case. Now that it's shown to be completely different, everybody's so quick to go right back to, oh, well, this is over. Game 5, you serious? These guys are done.
I think 7 teams in the NBA history have come back from being down 3-1. Most recently, the Suns against the Lakers back in 2006. Nobody's done it in the finals, but that's a pointless. If it happened at a different series, it could conceivably happen in the finals. So I think
ultimately, by the way, I'm sorry if I didn't answer the question. Ultimately, it is over. Not necessarily in Game 5.
Well, of course, if the Heat manage to win Game 5, then they're going to be favorites at least to win Game 6 back at home, and then you have Game 7 in San Antonio. Look, you start adding it up, and you got to win 3 straight games, 2 in San Antonio. It's incredibly difficult. A team with LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, it's not inconceivable that they could do that. These are pretty good players. So, we all want to make declarative statements, or declarative statements, either one. And I think we should hesitate. Like, of course the Heat can come back and win, but it's going to be very hard. Yeah. And it would be incredibly disappointing to me now to see the Heat come back and win, not because I have any leftover anti-Heat hatred. But I like LeBron, and he's a warrior and a champion, and the more that people get on him, the more I'm like, enough. But I would hate to see the Spurs, who've been so close to sort of breaking through with this remarkable achievement they've pulled off of having these 3 guys for this long and building a team around them. Like, this is the big 3 that I like. Look, I get it. You get to be free agents and sign with whoever you want, right? But I love the way the Spurs built their team. And that's what I like.
Yeah, and so whatever team plays like a team the way they do, there has to be a level of camaraderie and friendship that you really have. And of course, all guys on every team, they have their friendships. They have their how well they mold it together. But when you do it for this long and you have a chance to leave, you kind of like, well, why would I do that now? It's hard to really depart from something like that. Ultimately, everyone wants to win. And if they were just all nice guys and got along and played great basketball and just always got close and never won anything, then there's a reason to rethink it. But they win.
But this story for the Spurs becomes a bit of a tragedy if they aren't able to win one here at the end of Duncan's career. I mean, they've achieved so much. It's already been great. But capping another championship here at the age and the performance level that these guys are at, that would be great. And I just love how they built this team. I love how they built it, the way Popovich has put together a team. That, as I get older, ends up being the teams that I root for. And while it's impressive what Pat Riley did, in this day and age, selling elite star athletes to come and party and play in South Beach, it's not that hard. So to me, always, it's good. That's why I'll hate the Heat again if Carmelo joins them. Parker played, Duncan played, they all played well, but Vashawn Leonard and Patty Mills, I mean, those are the guys who just beat LeBron. And
you know what, Kawhi Leonard has quickly become my favorite player in the league. I love him.
Did I call him Vashawn Leonard?
Kawhi Leonard.
I called him Vashawn. I'm
Oh,
going
you did.
super old school. University of Minnesota, Vashawn Leonard.
Kawhi Leonard plays both
Kawhi
ways
Leonard.
so amazingly. And then I remember seeing him. I don't watch college basketball. I watch the tournament every year, and then I get bored with that even before it's over. But I noticed him in college, and I was like, "Who's this kid?" No, plays San Diego State. Oh, look, the coach is the old coach from Fab Five. Oh, it is kind of an interesting thing to watch for a half. And then I remember when he ended up coming to the league, I said, "Oh, this kid from San Diego State. Oh, what do you know?" He's amazing. Did you see the way he picked Dwayne Wade's pocket into that game? Like, frustrated him the entire time. He shed a pick 3 times while stealing the ball. Like, who does that?
So
It's Kawhi Leonard being like MVP of the series, arguably, if the Spurs were to win. It's not just his stats that are amazing; it's his defense that has been unbelievable
we talked
in
about
transition.
their offense and their ball movement, but right, this is a serious defensive team. Again, they held the Heat to 57 points, 3 quarters. By the way, I mean, Vashawn Leonard graduated from Minnesota in 1990. You even remember him?
The name was slightly familiar.
He played a lot of years in the NBA. He was last with the Blazers in 06 briefly. And he played for the Heat for a lot of years. It's sort of the bulk of his career in the late 90s. But it's tough when you've become your father and you start using, and I still make fun of my dad for it, and now I do it. It's great.